Rory, I was going to say what the song was, but since it's your tune, why don't you do it?
That's a song called Overnight Bag.
From your latest LP, Photo Finish.
That's right, yeah.
Well, welcome to Toronto.
Thank you.
It's been, I've got to say this, it's been a pleasure to look, for me anyway, to listen to your music over the years, and it's nice to meet you after all this time, because I can recall hearing Rory Gallagher on the radio in 1970 over here. That's little right. Pockets here and there, and it's nice. Ireland isn't the sort of place that you'd think would spawn a whole lot of rock and roll, or even blues-oriented rock and roll. Like Horselips are known here in North America, but I think what they do is more a folk thing and a hard-sounding package. Then there's Van Morrison, of course, who's probably one of the best-known Irish musicians around. He is really R&B oriented himself.
Yeah.
And then there's you with, you know, very simply your drummer and your bass player.
Yeah.
That's only really three people that I could think off the top of my head that are involved in your line of work.
Well, they'll be the three main ones. You also have the Boomtown Rats, who are kind of up and coming, and Thin Lizzy. So, but originally it was just like Van and myself, I guess, and then later on the Horselips and so on. But it's beginning to grow and develop, you know. So it's not as barren as it was.
Is there a lot of Irish rock music or something like it on the radio over there? Is there a lot of encouragement by the media and by the people that buy records?
No, not really. For years, you really depended on listening to BBC, the British, or Luxembourg. The Irish State Radio, RTE, was was okay. They had some rock things on, but in general, it certainly wasn't encouraged. But recently, things have changed, and they're definitely improved. But for years, the radio was basically taken up with Irish traditional music and plays and sport and so on, which is okay, but it was great, a bit backward looking, you know.
Yeah. It's funny, I've only flown over Ireland. I never really visited the place, but being in Wales and listening to Irish radio is very easy. And it was, it was funny. I'd never really heard any rock music.
Well, I mean, it's if you're a rock fan or anything like that, it's frustrating because you get a few sponsored programs where they would play top 10 records, and in the evening they might have the odd heavy rock program, but in general, I mean, it's more or less, it's bad from that point of view. But on the other hand, it's kind of almost 30 or 40-ish kind of radio. They still have a paid dramatic, team of actors paid by the state to, perform these plays and things, and they have a lot of opera and classic. It's a fairly cultural kind of radio thing, but it's a bit square, you know.
Yeah. That's a funny way of putting it. It isn't a way of life over there like it is here, rock and roll. Was Blueprint your first big North American breakthrough LP? It's the one that pops into my mind first.
Yeah. I guess it probably, let me see, I think probably it was the first sort of one that made any waves here at all, because we were on tour in Canada, reasonably strong at that time. It's hard for me to tell, but I imagine that would be, 1973, was it? Yeah, something like that.
To this day, people still phone up and ask for Daughter of the Everglades, which is why it's from that album. That's just why I still. So if you work a lot, an awful lot on live concerts here at the El Macambo tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that's nothing new for you. You really get up there and do a lot of club dates, don't you?
Well, a fair few. Not so much in the continent or in Australia or Japan or something, but on this tour of North America, we're doing primarily a club tour. Just not for a change, because we've done a lot of clubs already, but for a while they were working a lot in theaters and stadiums and things. But this one we just thought, let's do a club tour and just get in there and get into the brass knuckles meat and potatoes department. And
of course, you're really big business in some countries, I guess, eh? And in others, you're not that well known a fella.
Well, in Europe, I mean, there aren't that many concert acts that are as big as we are in Europe. I don't put that in a big-headed sense, but I mean, we in a fairly widespread European way, we're pretty big, and we're pretty big in Japan and so on. But in America and in North America, we're still cutting our teeth in some ways. But we do have a following, and we have had a fairly good run. But we're still working at it. You know, we got the screwdrivers out and the biro pencil, and we're. You know, I've got my Peter Frampton identikit mask ready for next year, and my Fleetwood Mac talcum powder, so don't worry.
I tell you, Rory, I don't believe a word of it. There's a big glint in his eye, folks. Don't believe a word of it. He's very much his own man, this guy, I think. You know, as I mentioned before, I think one of the reasons for that is because you've just got a trio working with you, two other musicians working with you. I mean, how... You know, I think for a lot of music, the simpler it becomes, the more able you are to read things into it and play and kind of appreciate it more. Like Robin Trower's music is, you know, is done by three people. Yeah,
well, I started off with a three-piece, and then for I think 6 years I had a keyboard player as well. But I've gone back to the three-piece, and it's really you get right down to the nitty-gritty, and it's fairly rough edge music, which is what I like. I don't think that rock and roll or blues or any music should kind of get synthesized the way it is nowadays. Everything is getting so they take a sort of a sound or a song and they make it so accessible to everybody, which is fair enough. But I mean, if you get, not that I want to be elite or, you know, big-headed, but you can't start watering down music the way they're doing it, because at the rate they're going, by 1984, as the man said, we'll all be listening to, you know, Donnie Marie and spoon-fed and, you know, fed through our intravenous veins, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm afraid of. I think music should be just still, you know, should pack some kind of a punch.
I've never seen you live, but I know this from your live albums, that your live material, that you're very, very much the same live as you are on album because of that reason, that very same reason.
Well, live, obviously, you can extend it a bit further, and you're not confined to 20 minutes aside and so on, but this is something that we're aware of, so, I mean, on records, particularly on the new one, I think we've cracked that sort of, is he better live or on record type of syndrome, you know.
Do you find people ever cover your songs? Do they do cover versions of them?
No.
I'm surprised it's never happened, because you've had some very strong material in the past.
I'd love it, personally, because I've written songs and albums that are not strictly Rory Gallagher type of songs, if that's, to put it that way. There was a French artist called Joel D-Day, who was quite popular one time a few years ago. He covered one song on an album, and there was a certain amount of interest in other songs, and the new album has sparked a certain amount of interest, but the problem is that I don't take the time to go into the studio again and to do a more easygoing version of the songs, because when they hear me doing them, they think, oh, that's too too rough for me to try, you know. But I'd love to, and I'd love to write for other people. It's because I leave so many songs behind in the notebook after a session that it's time that
You're a prolific writer?
Well, let's put it this way. If and I hate to kind of base writing around an album, but if you write, say, if you need 10 songs on average for an album, I usually have 15 or more, and they're all, you know, good solid things, and that's not to mention another 5 things that could be, you know, construction works for somebody else. I'd get a kick out of hearing somebody else trying them, because they would show another light onto what I do, you know. But
sure,
we're working at it anyway. We'll see what we can do.
Oh, good luck to you.
So
luck to the Irish and all that. It always works out, doesn't it?
It does eventually. Yeah. It does. Yeah.
Well, I promise I'll visit Ireland as soon as I can, and I'll be down at the Almacomba to see it tonight or tomorrow.
Very good.
And thank you for dropping by. I'd like to end with Shadow Play, if that's okay with you.
Yep.
From Overnight from Photo Finish.
Okay.
Overnight Photo Finish. From Photo Finish. Rory Gallagher, once again, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.